What's up everyone, Howler here, coach of your Delta Gligars. Today I'm bringing you a very messy draft analysis for what was a very messy draft. I was not originally a part of this draft. I actually took over in like the 9th or 10th round of the draft for Talon. Shoutouts to him, part of the LET community. He had to drop. I hope he's doing okay. But we took over his draft 9 picks in, and you can see now the picks that he made. He's got Dracovish, Excadrill, Darmanitan, Hippowdon, Galvantula, Hatterene, Hitmontop, Quillfish, and Stoutland. Those were the 9 mons that he had drafted before dropping. And so very, very heavy sand core. These 4 Pokemon up top here, the top 4, I could not live with having these all together on one team, because you throw any bulky water in front of them and the game's over. You can't break them. So yeah, that was really my main issue in taking over this team. I had to make 3 picks. I had to make 3 picks to round out the draft before I had unlimited transactions. So those are at the bottom here. The 3 picks that I made were Spiritomb, Alolan Executor, and Articuno. It doesn't scroll far enough down to see Articuno, but yeah. So the team didn't have a Dark type, didn't have a Ghost type, so Spiritomb fit in there nicely. Alolan Executor was just a grass type that I was hoping to give another chance after I drafted it in BBL, and I brought it twice, but both times I used it horribly. So yeah, I was just hoping to give it another chance, really. And then Articuno, which actually on this team was incredibly important, because before drafting Alolan Executor, also the team didn't have a ground resist / immunity, so Articuno provides that, and it was just also really, really good against the bulky waters because of freeze dry. It gave me another pivoter, hazard remover. Yeah, so it was quite crucial to this team, and had the trade proposal with Root, had that gone through, I would have actually kept it, but it didn't go through. So I'm gonna tell you now. So like I'm not giving a full-on analysis for a team that I didn't draft, but I'll give you the analysis for the picks that I made. Spiritomb needed a Dark type. Executor needed a Grass type. Articuno, yeah, just wanted another ground immunity and thing to deal with bulky waters. So yeah, like I had to make the picks just in case, you know, to fit this team that was originally drafted the best. I also should say, I had 8 points left over when the draft was done, and 12 Pokemon. Yes, 12 Pokemon on this team. Probably more than I would have attempted to draft on my own. But imagine drafting 12 Pokemon and still having 8 points left over in your budget. That's just because this is a 22 coach draft. So there's just not that many Pokemon to choose from. I was just picking up whatever was left at the bottom of the barrel when I came in, and there wasn't much I could really do about it. Yeah, so the final product is going to be interesting, to say the least. But the first thing I wanted to do is get rid of Hippowdon. I like Hippowdon. I drafted it in NCP. I don't like it with Excadrill, and I wasn't going to get rid of Excadrill. Double grounds, Excadrill, Hippowdon, it's just too, I don't know, it's too expensive, and they lose to the same things. They kind of fill the same role, and some do not. They don't really fill the same role, but just if you're drafting Excadrill, you're crazy not to draft Gigalith. So I wanted to pick up Gigalith in Hippowdon's place. So Root had Gigalith. I was trying to see what I could do to make a trade work with my man Root. So Root has Gigalith and Sandslash. Sandslash is his only ground type. Yes, it gets Sand Rush and can be kind of Excadrill light with alongside Gigalith, but if we're being honest, Sandslash is probably not coming to a ton of games for him. If I could trade him Hippowdon and upgrade his ground type, give him a form of reliable recovery, a much more reliable Stealth Rocker, and I think that would be beneficial for him. He could drop Sandslash and pick up something else in its place. And in turn, I could take Gigalith, plus I would trade him Hitmontop, so he could retain the Rapid Spin that he loses from dropping Sandslash, and he would also trade me Porygon Z. He has Obstagoon on his team already. Very similar speed tier, normal type wall breaker, but he wasn't interested in that. So, to recap, I proposed Hippowdon plus Hitmontop for Gigalith plus Porygon Z. They were the same point total. I think they were both of those two mons together were worth 23 points, so it worked out nicely. But the trade was declined, and that really crushed me. It really did. So with that original, with that trade, I was going to be keeping Articuno and Alolan Executor, and dropping most other things. I was going to be dropping Hatterene, I believe. I might have been keeping it, I'm not too sure. Anyways, so that trade was declined. I did, however, pull off another different trade with A13, I believe he goes by on in the Discord server. So once again, trading him Hitmontop, just because it sounds like Hitmontop is one of his favorite Pokemon, so he just wanted it. And then I also gave him Hatterene. So I traded these two Pokemon to him for two Pokemon that were worth more than these two combined, actually. So he's going to take Hitmontop, and I'm going to take Luke. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I'm going to take Lucario from him, and he's also going to take Hatterene, and we are going to get Alolan Ninetales, which is good for, once again, taking on the bulky waters with Freeze Dry. Aurora Veil support, retains the fairy typing that we had just lost from Hatterene. Just trading fighting types with Lucario. However, Lucario is going to get dropped in free agency. Actually, the other thing I want to mention, yes, we have Dracovish here. So Dracovish, can't have Sand Rush. It was drafted on a full-ass Sand team. I was actually, if I had acquired Gigalith in the trade with Root, I actually would have dropped Dracovish and picked up Azumarill instead. Yeah, I had just drafted Dracovish in the NCP SummerSlam tournament, so I wasn't too keen on using it again. I mean, I only used Dracovish in one game, to be real, but you don't draft Dracovish for Sand Rush. Sand Rush is just kind of it's just an option. It's really not something you should be using frequently. If you're using the best thing about Dracovish is Vicious Rend. And Vicious Rend is, of course, boosted in power by its Strong Jaw ability. So if you take away the Strong Jaw ability, you're taking away from what makes Dracovish good. That's just my 2 cents. If you really want to make Dracovish really fast, then you run Sticky Webs with Galvantula. We are keeping Galvantula on this team. So, yeah, I was gonna get rid of it for Azumarill, but because that trade didn't end up going through and I made a different trade, we are gonna end up keeping Dracovish on our team. So, what are some of the other changes we made? Well, Hippo, say goodbye. You are going to get replaced with Reuniclus, which was a free agent. It was worth, well, I think 1 point less than Hippowdon. So this is just basically, I think this is a good example of a swap. It regains the Psychic type that we lost from Hatterene. It's got reliable recovery, just like Hippowdon. Magic Guard, really nice to avoid status and stuff. Gets Regenerator too, so it can come in, sponge a hit, come out. Yeah, so this is something I had in on my IBL Season 7 Championship team that I was really hoping for a lot more usage out of it than I got. Having it here to give it a second chance, I'm looking forward to it. The next Pokemon that we dropped, the one that I knew I wanted to drop, I desperately wanted to drop Darmanitan. I'm just not a big Darmanitan fan in general. It's very one-dimensional. It doesn't provide a decent speed, a good speed tier for this team. Yeah, like Dracovish, Excadrill, Darmanitan, none of them above base 100. The fastest mon on this team originally was Galvantula, so I was able to get rid of another physical. This is just physical overkill right here. Dracovish, Excadrill, Darmanitan, they just literally throw any bulky water in front of them and they lose. So instead we picked up a faster special attacking fire type. This, I believe, is the fastest Pokemon on our team now, at base 117 being Salazzle. So we also get regain the grounded poison that we lost from dropping Quillfish. To be honest, this is probably not a transaction that I needed to make, but I did end up getting rid of Quillfish for Pincurchin. So now we have the Pincurchin Galvantula combination that I drafted in IBL Season 8, the season where I played one game before dropping. So I like that combo, Electric Surge and then into Rising Voltage, fast electric type Galvantula. This has spikes and toxic spikes just like Quillfish does. Actually, does Quillfish even get spikes? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. Anyways, that's not important. Terrain Setter, and we're actually gonna have a second Terrain Setter on this team because Thwackey became available in free agency, so we picked up Thwackey. So we've got Pincurchin and Thwackey, dual Terrain Setters on this team. This is just the scratching the surface on just how crazy looking this team is. But yeah, just objectively, Thwackey is a better grass type than Alolan Executor, so I saw it sitting there and I had the points, so I picked it up. Good knockoff user, good priority user, good pivot. Yeah, just think it's a lot more. It's a lot more versatile than Alolan Eggy, I think. Not that I dislike Alolan Eggy. So I should get back to Lucario, because Lucario is not on this team anymore. We traded it for Scrafty, which was a free agent. So I just like the bulk that Scrafty provides. like I said, I'm very happy with the amount of offense that's on this team already, and there is a little bit more to come after this. Scrafty is just I like Scrafty as a Pokemon. I like using it. I think it's a really cool design as well. I've only drafted it once before, and I only brought it to like 3 games, but I think it's a really fun Pokemon to use, and I'm looking forward to using it for the first time in Generation 8. Now what can we do here? So this is our team. Yep, this is our team. Stoutland. Stoutland is no longer on this team. I like Stoutland. I had it on my NCP Season 5 team before I dropped from that league. I hate saying before I dropped, because I'm not proud of dropping from leagues, but life happens. And I also used it in BBR Season 2. So I like Stoutland, but I just didn't like the sand identity of this team. Like, it was just way too hardcore of a sand team. So we got rid of Stoutland, and instead we picked up a different weather abuser. So we went from sand to hail while still keeping 2 of the Sand Rush users. But now we've got Arctozolt on the team. So yes, that is the 3rd electric type. We've got 3 electric types on the team, being Galvantula, Pincurchin, Arctozolt. Can you imagine if we get both Hail and Electric Surge active at the same time, and the opponent's ground type is like, for example, my week 1 opponent's ground type is Palpitoad, which is 4 times weak to Freeze Dry. Arctozolt has access to Freeze Dry. So can you imagine if we had Arctozolt set up in Hail with Slush Rush and Electric Terrain on the field, and we're clicking Bolt Beak? Oh my god, that's doing some damage. So yeah, I think this could be really funny in like Trick Room too. I've got Reuniclus with Reuniclus can set Trick Room if you get Arctozolt set up. If you get Arctozolt set up in Trick Room with no Hail and clicking Bolt Beak, and maybe even with Terrain active, or you could just straight up set up Trick Room for Pincurchin and spam Rising Voltage and do a bunch of damage with that. And then once Trick Room expires, you could like pick stuff off with Sucker Punch. So, yeah. Oh my god, this is a wild team. I don't like this team. It's more me now. That's the thing. I think I gave it more of a Howler identity than it had before. So I just, like, usually I don't make too many transactions, but I felt like, I need to make this team mine. So that's why I just made a lot of wild changes here. There are 2 more changes we got to look at here. So Spiritomb, I've never used Spiritomb at all. I would have liked the opportunity to use it, but as of right now, my only hazard setters are Excadrill and Pincurchin. So I needed to pick up a rocker here, and a ghost type that is a rocker is Galarian Corsola. So this is a really, really good Pokemon when you're not prepared for it. It's very, very passive, so it's easy to build and play around if you're like super ready for it. But if you're not, this thing could be extremely annoying. It's very, very fat. Strength Sap is a phenomenal move. It can be a physically defensive wall or specially defensive wall. As you see there, the defensive stats are equal. It having a low HP stat means that basically it will almost always heal up to full every time it uses Strength Sap. Strength Sap is just great support for the rest of the team too, because any physical attacker, like say a freaking Pangoro, comes in on Galarian Corsola, you get the strength sap drop. You don't want to stay in on Pangoro though, so you switch out into something else that takes the hit better because Pangoro is now at -1 attack. Yeah, I think it's just like I had this. I had drafted it for NCP Season 5 before I made the transactions, and on that team I just had drafted too many passive bonds. But I feel like it fits a lot better on this team. Yeah, like I don't have like none. Like I would say this is the only super passive mon on this team. Yeah. Everything else has a decent offensive presence, decent enough. So we still only do have 2 rockers and 1 being extra drill, which you don't want to be relying on being your rocker all the time. So we did get rid of Articuno, although Articuno on the original plan that I had with Porygon Z and Gigalith would have been amazing in my opinion. I think it really was the low tier glue that kept the team together. But I did need another hazard setter, so I ended up getting Archeops, which was the same point value. A little bit faster, retains the flying type, and gives us the rock type that we didn't pick up from Gigalith. So this can be another hazard setting option, like a Suicide Lead potentially, or just a really viable Scarfer. Defeatist sucks, but you can help switch it in multiple times with if you run boots on it, so that rocks aren't bringing it below 50% to activate Defeatist. This is a Pokemon, and it's on our team. So the final squad consists of Dracovish, Excadrill, Salazzle, Reuniclus, Galvantula, Alolan Ninetales, Scrafty, Pincurchin, Arctozolt, Corsola, Galarian, Thwackey, Archeops. That is our team. We have double terrain setters in Thwackey and Pincurchin. We have double fossils in Arctozolt and Dracovish. Opposite sides of the spectrum there. We could have been Dracozolt and Arctovish, but no, we're Arctozolt and Dracovish. 2 Sandrush users in Dracovish and Excadrill, and no Sand Setter. Instead, we have a Hail Setter for Aurora Veil support and Slush Rush support for the Arctozolt. Yeah, very wild team. It's going to be a challenge this season, but I do like a challenge, so we'll see you next week for the Week 1 battle. I think it's going up on Friday. This should be up on Sunday. The Week 1 battle should be up on Friday against Cherry Man Cake and the Philadelphia Melmetal. We'll see you then.